Today we're going to talk about one of the most misunderstood terms in the gun control debate, assault weapons. What are they? What aren't they? And how did this term become part of the national conversation? Let's separate fact from fiction. Let's start with a definition, or rather the lack of one. The term assault weapon is widely used, but before 1989, it didn't even exist in firearm terminology. According to Bruce Kobayashi and Joseph Olson in the Stanford Law and Policy Review, this term was created for political reasons to expand the category of assault rifles. People often confuse assault weapons with assault rifles, but they are not the same. Let's make this crystal clear. M4A1, a military assault rifle, fully automatic, fires multiple rounds with a single pull of the trigger, up to 950 rounds per minute. Banned for civilian sale since 1986. AR-15, a civilian rifle. Semi-automatic, fires 1 round per trigger pull. 45 to 60 rounds per minute, depending on the user. No different in function than many other common firearms. In fact, an AR-15 functions just like these guns, but with a different appearance. So why is it singled out? Why do people think of the AR-15 as an assault weapon while other guns with the same function go unnoticed? A 1988 Violence Policy Center report openly admitted the strategy assault weapons are a new topic. Their menacing looks, coupled with public confusion over fully automatic versus semi-automatic weapons, can increase support for restrictions. So-called assault weapons were banned not because of how they functioned, but because of how they looked. Let's take a step back and ask ourselves a crucial question. Why do we fear certain guns more than others? Why does an AR-15 spark controversy, while a wooden hunting rifle barely raises an eyebrow, even when they function the same? The answer lies not in mechanics, but in perception. Take a look at these two rifles. One is often called a ranch gun or hunting rifle. The other is labeled an assault weapon. But in reality, they are both semi-automatic, meaning they fire 1 round per trigger pull. So why does one seem more threatening? Black military-style polymer body versus classic wooden stock. Pistol grip and collapsible stock versus fixed wooden stock. Rail system for attachments versus plain design. None of these features make the AR-15 deadlier. They don't change its power, fire rate, or accuracy. They are purely cosmetic. But visually, one resembles military rifles, and that triggers an emotional reaction. Now let's talk about how this perception has been shaped over time. From the 1990s onward, media outlets have repeatedly used the term assault weapon, a term that, before 1989, didn't even exist in firearm terminology. The result? A generation of people who associate the AR-15 with mass shootings, terrorism, and war. This is intentional. Sensationalism sells. Fear keeps people watching. And by repeatedly using the same images and phrases, the media has ingrained the idea that AR-15s are uniquely dangerous, even though they function like millions of other legally owned rifles. Fact, rifles of any kind account for less than 3.5% of gun homicides. Fact, more murders are committed with knives, 1,694 per year, and blunt objects, 496 per year, than with rifles. Fact, handguns are responsible for the vast majority of gun crimes. But when's the last time you saw a news segment demanding a ban on kitchen knives or baseball bats? You haven't, because the media shapes public perception by deciding which issues to amplify and which to ignore. When public perception is shaped by fear instead of facts, bad policies follow. Assault weapons are a new topic. Their menacing looks, coupled with the public's confusion over fully automatic machine guns, versus semi-automatic assault weapons, anything that looks like a machine gun is assumed to be a machine gun, can only increase support for restrictions. This was never about function, it was always about optics. By leveraging fear and confusion, anti-gun groups convinced the public that banning assault weapons would make them safer, even though the weapons they targeted weren't the ones used in most crimes. The 1994 assault weapons ban didn't ban powerful guns. It banned guns that looked scary. Features like a collapsible stock or pistol grip were outlawed, but guns that functioned exactly the same remained legal. Here's the irony. If you took a legal hunting rifle and simply added a pistol grip and adjustable stock, suddenly it's an assault weapon under many laws, even though it fires the same bullet at the same rate with the same power. When laws are based on perception rather than reality, they don't solve problems. They create false security.
Breaking news.
Each time a tragedy happens, the call for an assault weapons ban resurfaces even when the weapons used weren't assault rifles, and even when past bans have had no measurable impact on gun violence. Should it be renewed, the ban's effects on gun violence are likely to be small at best, and perhaps too small for reliable measurement. Despite this, perception remains more powerful than fact. People feel like banning certain guns will reduce violence, even when data shows otherwise. And when policies are written based on emotion rather than evidence, we all lose. This issue goes beyond firearms. It's a lesson in how public opinion is shaped. In 1994, a federal assault weapons ban was passed. But what did it actually do? Banned rifles based on cosmetic features like pistol grips, collapsible stocks, and flash hiders. It did not ban semi-automatic firearms themselves. It had no measurable impact on gun violence. Should it be renewed, the ban's effects on gun violence are likely to be small at best, and perhaps too small for reliable measurement. In other words, the law didn't work. Now let's talk about real-world numbers. FBI crime data, rifles of any kind, not just so-called assault weapons, account for less than 3.5% of gun homicides. More people are killed each year with knives, 1,694 murders, and blunt objects like hammers, 496 murders, than with rifles of any kind. So if rifles, including AR-15s, are rarely used in crime, why are they the focus of legislation? Some argue that banning high-capacity magazines will prevent mass shootings, but history tells a different story. Columbine in 1999 occurred during the assault weapons ban. Virginia Tech in 2007. Shooter used handguns with standard 10 and 15 round magazines. Aurora, Colorado in 2012. Shooter used a shotgun and a handgun. Sandy Hook in 2012. The AR-15 was widely misrepresented as a military weapon. The tragic reality is that mass shooters often bring multiple magazines or multiple firearms. Restricting magazine capacity doesn't prevent violence, it simply changes the method. So why is the AR-15 one of the most popular firearms in America today? Modular and customizable, low recoil, lightweight, and highly accurate. Used for sport shooting, hunting, and home defense. More than 20 million in circulation. The truth about assault weapons is simple. They are semi-automatic firearms just like millions of other guns legally owned by Americans. They are not military machine guns. They are not responsible for most gun crimes, but they have been branded as uniquely dangerous, not because of function, but because of perception. Gun policy should be based on facts, not fear. And as citizens, we have a responsibility to question the narratives we are given, challenge emotional arguments with evidence, and demand policies that address real causes of violence, not just ones that look good on paper. Because when perception drives policy, freedom is often the first casualty. Thank you.